Well, Complexity were so close to doing what no other team has done so far in Game Changers in 2023, but just falling a little bit short after taking V1 to overtime in this very first map here. It was actually so close considering V1 Vans is this big bad Titan that we have here in Game Changers, and Complexity, they were so close.
That's exactly it. We were watching this game. I mean, I was watching the game personally, and I was like, okay, it's just going to be version 1 just storming through another match. And wait a minute, we get into the second half, and then we actually have a very, very close game. And I think it comes back to just the nature of the compositions that you have in itself. I mean, we were talking about it in the green room, Mark, saying that, Lotus in itself is already going to be usually attacker-sided. But when you have a team like version 1 with that pedigree that they have under their belt and the notoriety that they have under for their name, you're just going to think it's going to be one-sided. But when you're playing with a Jett on defense, it's not that easy.
Yeah, prior to this, the best anyone had done against V1 in Game Changers was a 13-10. That was Shopify in the grand finals in map 1, going back to Game Changers Series 1. This is the best game anyone has played in Game Changers against this team. So even though Complexity came up a little bit short, it's still quite an accomplishment. It is a little unfortunate that all of that hard work does not pay off with a victory. But version 1, even when their chips are down, still managed to find wins. It's definitely not as clean as we anticipated from V1 potentially, but I think a lot of that is due to credit just the way that Complexity played the game, the way they prepared. You even saw it in some of the rounds towards the tail end of the game, just their awareness on the way that V1 likes to approach the map. It's clear that Complexity was there to do their homework. The problem was this was kind of their win con. They needed to win map 1. Knowing that they were moving into a map 2 that's not exactly advantageous for them in Pearl, that's a problem because they needed map 1 to pad them over to map 3 to give them a fighting chance. Map 2 is going to be so much harder for them.
Yeah. And as much as it was a winning condition for Complexity, they almost had it, though. Because when you're looking at that head-to-head between Fluorescent and Jazzican, yes, Jazzicans maybe didn't have too much of an impact on that Jett, as I was saying before. It's very hard to play it on this map, or just to play it in general against Fluorescent, right? But then, on the other end, she still understood the game quite well, the IGL on the attack. There's at least like 2 rounds I wanted to talk about, and we won't really have videos for it, at least, but close your eyes and imagine this. It's 2 rounds. It's 2 rounds where we actually had a Viper's Pit available for Sarakat. And those 2 moments, you had some great calls of like how to pivot between from one ult to the next. So that's a round where we had an ult coming out from a Killjoy. They tap it. They force out the other ult. They tap the spike. Then you work within the pit. Get the pick off and get the plant then towards that B site.
I see it perfectly.
Unfortunately, you still have to play against a very strong retake from version 1. You still have to play against Fluorescent, and it's very difficult. Although, round number 24, they did exactly the same thing. Work around that Viper's Pit, plant on the C side, and then force it into overtime from lurks from Lace on that operator. So they understood the map quite well. They understood the positionings on the defense for version 1, but unfortunately, it's just too much.
My imagination painted that perfectly. I didn't even need to see the tape hands. You just telling me what was going on and me closing my eyes did wonders. Yeah,
why do we need a game? We should just have Vans in there.
Casting video games with no video, anyways, right? So like, it's
very true.
It's just natural.
Familiar.
I mean,
territory.
We came into that map, and one of the things we talked about too is like how the duelists were going to match up against each other. And even though normally when we talk about duelist v duelist, it's not really about the direct battle between the 2 duelists, but more so the way they each approach the game. In this instance, that was actually the case. Fluorescent has been notoriously a difficult opponent for duelists to face off against because she effectively hunts other duelists, and she did exceptional here. She actually had the advantage pretty aggressively, 7-3 over Jazzykins. That's kind of proving the point that Jazzykins was basically shut down pretty effectively by Fluorescent. But Fluorescent obviously played well across the board against everyone, but that was a big problem for them.
And now Complexity losing that first map. Aki touched on it. That was a win con. So Vans, you did such a good job with the last story. So hey, tell us a news story of what we maybe should expect heading into now V1's pick of Pearl, something that Complexity last time we saw them didn't necessarily look the strongest.
Story time. So this is going to be very difficult, I think, when you're going to play the second map for Pearl, if Complexity don't really have any changes in their composition. Usually they play a Neon, a Sky, and a Phoenix. And what does version 1 play? Another double initiator, just like we saw from Xset before. So they play a KO and a Sova. And we saw how directly impactful the KO was to cancel out the utility from Phoenix. The advantage, I think, out of this is how you could pop a little bit faster off Phoenix walls and Neon walls and then use that corridor to flash out of those. But you still had to figure out ways how you could avoid that KO knife, how to avoid the rotation out from version 1 that gets to read where they could use that KO knife against you. And how can you run those trap plays by avoiding the KO too? Or at least make them waste that knife out earlier. But if not, as you can hear, the story that I'm painting is that it's going to be still a very difficult game for Complexity on the second map because of that.
I mean, version 1 has an impeccable record on the map, and it's clearly a map they feel very, very comfortable on. I think 13-1 historically is their record on Pearl. Definitely not a bad map for Complexity, and 9-4 by comparison. That's still good. It's just one is a little bit better than the other. Math doesn't lie. Numbers are obviously numbers.
Bit.
I mean, it's a pretty impressive history that they have on the map. But you also have to take into consideration, that's probably the first time that V1 has been put in that situation here in Game Changers. So what is going through their heads right now? Are they maybe a little bit rattled? Or have you had, or have you just drop kicked a bee's nest and now you're dealing with the repercussions? Because clearly, I don't think they're going to be happy after that performance. They're going to potentially come into map 2 with a storm. You could have just stirred something up.
Even if you drop kick a bee's nest, version 1's still the bear. It's not going to affect them at all.
Plus, I mean, Complexity took V1 to overtime, and what they do, that last round, Mel opened with a 3K. I don't think this is a team that can get rattled much, so Complexity might have to look for a different win con here, as it's not going to be in the change of duelists that they're bringing out here, Bach. It'll be that run back of this Phoenix and the Neon.
I kind of thought that maybe there'd be a change, just maybe, because of the fact that this is kind of a more obscure composition. And Vans, we see this sometimes with teams that run these more off-standard comps where you have like a Neon Phoenix. It is definitely sort of strange that they're willing to swap one player away. Maybe the Neon goes and plays the Jet, or maybe the Phoenix changes roles, changes hands, and you have the other player play something that's maybe a little bit better for the match itself, not necessarily overall, just the matchup. But it is going to be Complexity sticking to their guns, and I understand it. It has worked. It also hasn't worked. So we'll see how it matches up against V1, who's obviously really strong on this map.
I agree. Keep an eye out for Alexis again. How do you stop her? But at the same time, it's not only a KO versus all of the executions of Complexity. Is if you watch version 1 of this map, they're also very good with their own aggressive trap plays on defense, and that's where they're starting. So keep an eye out on that as well.
Yeah, Complexity starting on the attack with this Neon and the Phoenix. Gonna have to see big waves here in Pearl if they want to try and have a chance to take it into map 3 to try and stay out of the lower bracket for now. Regardless, we've gotten to see good things from the last map. Let's see if they can run it back. Gompers, Sully, it's time for you two to take it away.
Listen, the analysts talked about Complexity and the power and hard work they showed within this series so far. And I'm going to be honest, Sully, I have to agree. You got clutches from Claudia that are really making jaw-dropping plays. Impressive op shots from Lacey. It's been a very impressive series so far.
I mean, as impressed as we are, it doesn't matter unless you actually win the map. And that was the thing that Complexity needed to stay competitive in this series. Pearl, as we have been saying, a 13-1 map record in favor of V1. This is just a map they've been utterly dominant on. They haven't dropped a map in the last 2 to 3 months. So why should this one be any different? Complexity as well, running that composition, I was like thinking like, dude, this comp is, it's intricate, you know, it's cool, it's wacky, but against a KO, it is so easy to shut down these pushes with that single knife as Des was talking about. And I think that's an issue that Complexity are going to face throughout this map. And on the attacking side, their weaker side, they will need to find something within them to pull a decent half out.
Listen, I'm not on Sully's side. I have some respect for the Phoenix here, for the Phoenix Neon, so I'll keep myself there. I truly do like the composition here.
And they're going in towards this A site after feeling the B contact, and we have a double setup here. Nanostorm as well. I think a Gravo. No, a Smoke instead going to get popped to maintain backside control. A great combination, but it does actually end up catching Sarah, which had to dodge the concuss as well here. So version 1 instantly in a retake.
Listen,
They don't
honestly,
clear the corner. They don't clear Noya.
oh, nah. It's pretty much game over. Okay, trigger discipline there, but then again, the pinch is big. Version 1 slowly really leading into this play. Pistol round looking great, but Lacey with a flash, you're looking at the potential here bigger than the rest. A slight pigeon forward coming through from Mel. Nobody even knows that they're there. Claudia still watching the angle. And it's enough to really close things out. I mean, Floor, with a Sheriff, how much can you get in a situation like this one? Not seeming like it's going to be too much. Already down in the angle. And I have to trust people more because the plays that continue to come through, when I have that doubt in mind, honestly really surpassing anything that I could have thought of. Regardless, though, the time is going to be up. It seems like Floor is just looking for a possible pick to play with and taking both of them out instead.
Dude, Floor is my worst nightmare. Like, I'm so serious. If she's got a Sheriff, if she's in a clutch, I truly believe she can maybe pull it off. The complexity to get in the pistol round, it's a big start. Actually a big start. Version 1 have played this map once in Game Changers Series 2. And it was against FaZe Clan, where they won 13-1 and had an 11-1 half on their attacking side. So I put emphasis here when it comes to complexity and getting a good attacking start. I think they need at least 5 rounds here, given how good Version 1 have been on their attack, not only on this map, but just overall. You'll need players to step up as well on this attacking side. And when you transition to that defense, Jazzykins, who had a very quiet first map, now on the Neon, a completely different style when it comes to playing the defense, will have to be as impactful as can be with her stuns. Version 1 are on the eco. It's still a dangerous round because Fluorescent has invested into a Sheriff.
A bit worried of the Sheriff, yeah. Honestly, I would be as well. After the plays that we saw last time, there was some havoc being created there. Yeah, but more so patience again leading up to this.
3 players tagged off of that single knife. And Version 1 are just trying to commit to the A gamble. Complexity's pivoting the other way. I think I would give respect to Version 1 in a lot of these instances, especially in these anti-ecos that you're playing. Complexity just not willing to show face early, not willing to take these early fights in fear of giving up a 1v2 or 1v3 against this V1 team. All you really need from Complexity is just one gun. Version 1 can
30 seconds left.
Win the round out entirely, so you have to be careful here. They have played very carefully. And they will take B site control. Jazzykins even getting a nice peek over towards lane.
Ooh.
One enemy
What's
remaining.
going on? Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, everybody's gone. It's a flawless round. Yeah, Version 1 just got eliminated in seconds.
Yeah, 2-0 for Complexity and keeping all 5 guns alive as well. So they've got 3 Bulldogs. It's a pretty decent bonus going into this one. Jazzykins electing to stick to the Spectre to kind of close the distance with that gun. And Version 1 investing fully.
Placing swarm grenade.
The 3 Bulldogs will be a very big help here in these long-range duels. Version 1 put a lot of emphasis on mid, but this time they're actually putting in a little bit of work over towards A, see if they can get Fluorescent in an aggressive angle. In Complexity, if they've done their homework, which it looks like they have, should know that a big part of this map is Version 1 in their mid. They have put 3 players here.
Oh, but there's so much fight left to be made here. Honestly, with Floor, you're seeing the dash loaded up. Nobody's going to peek through that. The potential's here. Yeah, I'm really liking this. The run it back coming through from Raze, although it's shut down immediately. Sarah still making numbers work out. Bonus round not looking too good here for Complexity.
And they just wanted to punish off of the A aggression, see if they could catch players coming back through A, but I don't think they recognized the fact that there was a dart that literally came from Art. And got caught off by Sarah, so 5 versus 3. They lost a Bulldog here as well, and pivoting into the B site is a little bit woeful at this point in time unless Claudia can get up close with his stinger.
Turret's watching like a hawk at this point. Is there any information that Noya can play with here? Are they going to peek with the turret? Try to really lead this fight to some sort of corridor. Now down inside of the smoke, everything is just completely covered.
That's a very well-placed Anastorm. Might force an exec, another smoke pop to allow these players to walk in.
30 seconds left.
Oh, they've had it though. Noya's in such a good spot at this point. A peek can honestly lead to everybody else's demise. Nobody's watching this angle. A flash to really push this through. Exactly what we were wanting to see from Alexis, leading into this complete fall from Complexity.
2 guns at least pulled away.
this
So
is a much
I mean,
better
you
trajectory.
get out with what you can for Complexity on their bonus. Version 1 get the guns, and yeah, it's this play from Sarah that really seals their fate. The idea 100% there. I'm a big fan of investing Phoenix ults because it's just such an easy ult to recharge.
Yeah.
The B orb is very accessible to the offensive side, and then over towards A as well. It's really easy to get that control of that orb. And Version 1 battling again heavy for that ult orb control, trying to deny anything here for Version 1, or apologies, from Complexity. And this Phoenix Soul is probably going to be a very heavy reoccurring theme a lot of the times.
Oh, there's such a big shutdown there. Listen, they pretty much just tore everybody's util apart at this point, trying to fight this by themselves. They're still trying to peek this Complexity, not leading any back off. Actually, Ray's feeling very confident with that fight.
They do go 1 for 1, which is a big thing mainly for Complexity
got your
because they just
trail.
remove the smokes out of Mel. So they don't have smokes to play with here. That makes the B hit a little bit easier. They won't have to worry about grab bullets. They won't have to worry about the smokes coming in. They just got to look out for the nanoswarms.
Move it up towards Heaven again. You're looking at the position of Noya. And if we know anything about Noya, it's the fact that they really do like to hold these
what a
sites,
punish.
but they're not holding it.
Why'd you
Cora
find it?
shoots straight through the smoke, gets taken down.
That will be control here. Ray's even getting aggressive, looking to take a fight. That's a beautiful flash, and I love this from Complexity. Just pushing the issue on all these extremities.
Now space being taken up by Version 1. It's up the floor at this point.
Last player
Working together
standing.
to this Sarah and Floor taken down by that collateral from Lacey.
And winning that early A main fight and instantly pivoting into a B hit was beautiful from Complexity. And Version 1, the second time that they've gone for this A aggression, and it's a really, really nice trade there. And punishing as well the fact that you get so much space on this B site. I love that as well, just investing the Cosmic Divide, making a flash play. It's very difficult to counter that B-Link against the flash. Not a lot of angles you can hide from.
Yeah.
And Complexity will get their 3rd round, resetting Version 1. A strong start so far to this attacking side. I think a 5-round minimum is what I said, and they're already 2 away from that.
So far, so good, honestly, in a map pick that's Version 1. So for me, I think Complexity have a lot to really boost themselves up here. Especially with this save coming through from V1.
Expecting a push somewhere. Maybe even a re-clear towards A, but another flash goes through, and I think now Complexity begin to realize that there is nobody over on A, but a cross-map knife from Alexis has cleared A main as well. So Version 1, in these instances, you kind of have to make the gamble. Floor has knives, so they're trying to push him into a B hit, it looks like.
Time to hunt.
Oh, but regardless, yeah, retake there from A. You can definitely see everybody's just wanting to pinch push this A site, take it as quickly as they can.
The mid control will cause difficulties for V1 to make the rotate, forcing Noya to back off site, play the retake.
Yeah.
This will be a 5-on-5. Nice exit here for Complexity. Clearing out dugout, clearing out the backside.
30
They can
seconds
play the
left.
post plan here pretty easily.
Planted.
Alexis does have 2 flashes to set up Fluorescent. We'll see how she gets into this. A double updraft. No, just a singular one to get back in.
Again, though, it's super threatening to hear that Fleur has now pulled out the knives because there's potential now at this point. Mel getting a shot. Don't even know how they managed to retrieve that one, but now a weapon, a free weapon in the hands. That pretty much was that main objective there. Picking another one up as well. This pinch coming in through
remaining.
very, very nicely from Mel. And then again, you got a 2v1. Regardless of what happens, it's Fleur watching the angle. So it's a guarantee for V1.
And it's Mel again on like such a risky lurk. It catches a player off guard, and then they just crunch in towards Art. Like this was just Version 1 sending one player through, I believe it was like the sewer area, and just creeping up over towards that A link. And Complexity just get caught off guard, losing that one player that opens up so many opportunities for Mel. And leaving as well, Lacey alone on site. I just saw Complexity were asking to give Fluorescent a gun, to give Fluorescent a kill. And that's what they did. And now Fluorescent with the operator. We didn't get to see her play it that much on Lotus. I think maybe once she pulled it out, but now she's got it.
I don't think we've seen much of Fleur
Just
off yet.
spot the barrel.
Nice first pick, and that's honestly going to set this back. But Jazzy playing the Neon, again, there's a lot of aggression that could come through here, although knowing the op is here, is that a choice that we want to make right now?
They're going to walk through the smoke. I mean, this works pretty well here for Complexity, that smoke that gets dropped. You can just pop flash through. But they will like to back away. I think Fluorescent is just way too good on the op in her position right now. And Claudia space. Once again on this lurk. She was doing it on Viper in the last map. Or apologies, not on Viper. On KJ. Over towards C.
Here.
And even over towards B. So on this map, she'll do the same.
Placing
shooting
swarm
this
grenade.
hurt
Swarm
still
grenade out.
seeing a very, very
Looking to break any KJ
patient
util
play.
there.
Yeah.
Lockdown for Noya as well, so they know that the lockdown is focused on the A site off of that. With no util getting broken, no sound cues off of the nanoswarm. This is a lockdown play for Noya. Maybe expecting it over towards Art, but she's got
30
it primed
seconds
towards
left.
back site. And Jazzykins can really easily punish this with a quick run.
Oh, but they're gonna push that. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, and look at
Nice
how
play
deep that
from
smoke is.
Oh, regardless, stunning themselves.
She ran into the stun.
Unfortunate. And again, one of the biggest punishable factors of Neon is if you go too fast, you're gonna get
Bullseye.
punished for it. Now
10
Sarah
seconds left.
is just going on a killing spree at this point. 7 seconds left. Spike is in mid. There is no chance here for Complexity.
This was a round that Complexity just felt completely out of it. Like, from
Yeah.
the start, they lose that first kill, Raze goes down, and then there's just no plan, I'm gonna be honest. They try to rework back into towards 8 off of Claudia, who, again, dropped a nanoswarm to break in a KJ util towards B-Link, maybe hold players on the B site, but it's just unfortunate. Jazzy just gets caught in her own stun, and I hate to say it, she has not had the best day
Yeah.
in what we know Jazzykins to be. The star of Complexity at times. Against Valaris,
Keep your heads on.
popped off.
Placing swarm
Against Xset, had her moments, but here today has been a non-factor in this series.
But a pop-off is well-deserved. I mean, maybe this is the chance. You're seeing so much hold here, so much util coming through on A site from version 1, knowing they don't want to, risk any potential here.
They might pop the ult here. They're playing a pretty heavy retake, but Sarah does have the Hunter's Fury, and it's aimed straight down the barrel of A main.
Peeking with util too, so risky from Raze. Already in the push in. Yeah, Jazzy's just watching this like a hawk. You see the smoke covering everything. Hunter's Fury from Sarah. It's not even finding anything. No information to start this off. Oh, okay, that's a good one. A tag to, again, bring some information through, and that's going to be the spike.
It's on to one of the rifle players as well. Version 1 should get into the site, but look at the positioning here of Mel. She's got a ping already as to where she wants to spam.
And they're spamming all right. Mel is ready and prepped in that position. Noya there playing off that contact, and another one. Spray transfer looking perfect.
Just timing their swing perfectly, and just so much backside control from version 1. They're so good at maintaining the retake control. They kept Mel in towards dugout. I mean, look at it. They don't back up any further than Art, or apologies from Flowers, and that's how they make this fast play happen. It's so uncomfortable there for Complexity, and they'll have to call a timeout. We'll see their economy here in a second, but it can't be that good. Version 1 in a very comfortable spot, despite, I mean, the scoreline being very close. The last 2 rounds have been version 1 all over it. It's just been the pistol in the second round after that have really been the dominant start for Complexity. Other than that, these rifle rounds heavily been in favor of version 1.
Man, and it sucks because I feel like we were kind of seeing a lot of potential from Jazzy over on Lotus in the beginning. But, again, you get shot down multiple times with the op in your hands. Now you entry in and nobody's giving you that follow-up that you're asking for. It really does tear your soul apart. And I feel like Jazzy's in a really deep spot, especially everyone else in this team. Yeah, again, you're playing against V1, so chances already slim on their own, and they're fighting as hard as they can.
I think Jazzy knew the win condition in this map, in this series, was she had to step up. Last time they played, when 0-5 in first kills versus Fluorescent. The last map, when I
Placing
think
swarm grenade.
3 and 7 for first kills. I might be wrong on that. Do not quote me. Do not quote me. But version 1 have stepped up with Fluorescent, where Jazzykins has been unable to. In this round, a 5-man hit towards B, lockdown in play, and the Phoenix ultimate. And look at Alexis, a huge ultimate to cancel everything.
Not even the ult, too, but you got 4 with the op. I'm scared
What
for
a
everybody
flash timing.
peeking this. It's Complexity, although they still miss out to Fluorescent, giving them a bit of space there.
Just peeking as the flash pops. And now they back up Alexis, getting ready to pop the ultimate.
You're dead. Going up.
Raze gets it off. Might be able to deny the lockdown, though.
Yeah, I want to see a lot more usage of this as well. Looks like it's going out so well. Oh, and that's unfortunate. Not a lot of space even being taken up. Not a pick or anything here. Even floor left untouched.
Where's that lockdown? Is that over actually on the spike? That might be very difficult to hold here. And Lacey's kind of in a position where she has to stick and fight if they want to hold on to it.
I was just hoping for a peek. Fleur doesn't care at this point. Just looking for one.
Oh, she gets detained. That'll slow the retake down.
Oh, that actually baits Raze. No, Raze backs off. Knowing better than that, this time Sarah.
They check,
slowly peeking through. It's a contact play coming through from Complexity, but Mel is better. And better they must be V1 again. Somehow taking it back.
Such a coordinated retake, and the whole time they put pressure in defender spawn, pressure up towards heaven. No breathing room for Complexity, who didn't plant in a spot where they could play towards long. They played to fight on site. And Lacey finding two, it just simply wasn't enough. Version 1 again, you'll see in the retake, the timing, first of all, on that fluorescent kill, and how quick they are to this scene. Mel timing her peaks perfectly, and no one there to trade those two players in back halls.
Yeah.
A testament to how good version 1 of B. Sometimes it is these individual plays, and Mel steps up huge with a 3K. She closed out the last map with a 3K, and she started here a critical round that will reset Complexity with a 3K.
Oh, man. It started off so well. We were looking at a good push. Again, that peak too early on. The flash actually coming out in perfect time. Now the wall to cover. But Complexity, again, is this push coming in too late? Because it seems like Fluorescent doesn't care at this point.
This is a retake here for version 1 again. But once again, this cognitive divide gives so much space. And a lot of opportunities here for version 1 to get back into the site quickly. But they aren't. They're scared. I think of just the ultimate for now. The wall's gone down. They haven't even tapped the spike. Are you kidding me?
Oh, but now they do. Fleur watching halls is scary, though.
Here.
Because you can see Raze. They see some sort of tracing coming through from in there.
Double flash and 2 stars left over for version 1. And already a kill.
Now Pride is going away, though. Oh, Complexity. I don't even know. They teamed up there down inside of hole, so that's going to be a death tunnel to take in. Although it's up to Noya. I mean, taking down some of the mollies. Floor doing a very, very good job at creating some of that distraction. Down towards the back, Jazzy, a one tap. And now it's up to the lure. Already coming through. Claudia, what are you going to do? You're focusing on Floor, but Alexis is behind you as well.
You don't deserve my inventions.
6-3 version 1. Once again, immediately into that site. No room for Complexity to breathe. Yes, they get the first 2 kills, but then you'll see here how version 1 reset. They keep Fluorescent in a spot where she can punish that back hall swing. She finds that kill, and on 2 HP, there's just nothing Jazzykins can do. For the second time, Complexity planning where they wanted to just fight in the back site. And it doesn't work out again. 2 successful retakes here from version 1. And now if you're Complexity,
Yeah.
you need an answer, and you need it soon. 3 rounds left to play in this half. And again, you need at least 5. A walkout towards mid. A timing between these 2 teams.
Oh, how is Floor getting away with this? The early op shots just to push out on the defense.
Good trades.
And nobody's punishing. But now at least this time, you get 3 players versus 3 players. Sarah somehow cashing through the box. Raze comes through.
And it has opened up the B side, but that trade again, Raze going down. Kara and Lacey. Lacey has been exceptional in this series, had big moments. And this is a big round.
Deploying
Oh,
drone.
no.
The timing,
Oh, no. And even then, it doesn't matter. Sarah pulled out in the wrong time.
double star, has a gravel, but it's not planted for them.
So they're floor watching with the op. Smoke, they think it's covered, but it's not Floor. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough for Complexity. Cora needing to take some of these heads, but it doesn't seem like it matters because Mel comes through with the util as well.
And just over-committing to a B-Link fight. Planning the spike again where they just can't see it. That's the 3rd time they've made that plant spot, and the 3rd time they're going to lose it.
That moment is gone.
At some point, if you're Complexity, just play for long. You're going to risk playing against the operator, but you have a much better chance in a lot of these situations. Complexity are just so quick to answer. And here, up against the operator, that's a one-dimensional entrance back into the site, and you're going to get picked off. That's 3 retakes in a row from version 1. And every single time they planned into the same spot. One off the Phoenix ult. And so they are going to test A main. See if they can scare them out of it.
Scanning ahead.
Just make it seem like the opposite here.
The spear tactic might work. Raze, though, having the run it back. And I want to see this. I want to see this pulled out more often because it might work here as Jazzy goes around the back. Now both ults kind of popped out at this moment.
Gotta know what the second
not getting
is.
much. Unfortunate, but still complexity. Okay, they keep the site.
Noya ult still online here, but a 4v3. I don't think she wants to use it yet.
Why is Alexis stuck between walls? So much going on at
No
this point.
spike plants.
They don't have it. Lockdown is there as well. They have to back themselves off.
It gets denied through the church wall. And Complexity might have kept themselves out of the round because of that spam, or kept themselves in the round version 1.
Oh, no. Actually, Floor is expecting this read. Floor has to be on something. Big brain plays right now.
And they're looking to retake the spike. They have to retake the spike, and it's Fluorescent that is watching every single angle. They put Noya back in the flank. This is perfect adjustment here from V1.
Oh, but didn't
Not
read into
enough. Gets caught.
It's unfortunate. Alexis has to catch on just a bit too late. But still, it doesn't matter.
30
Spike is
seconds
still in their
left.
hands. They have potential here. Now, a slow push. No pinch needed. Because Complexity, they're stuck in a very bad position.
No
At this
use
point, they could gather Spike, try to get the plank down, but Noya has a nice angle
Last
on it.
player
Still a
standing.
1v1. What is going on? Version 1! Still with Noya clutching this.
And it's her that starts this whole round. Brings version 1 back
round
into it
in the
off of a
half.
4v3. Spams the spike planner towards Church.
Yeah.
And that's what cost him this round here, Complexity. And not aware of the fact that Noya would pop through flowers again. She finds and comes up huge.
Placing swarm grenade.
In the top 5, in the top 3 of ACS through the closed qualifier. And she's had huge moments in this series, and that was a big one. That might keep Complexity out of this series now entirely. Version 1, 11-1. Half on their attacking side against FaZe Clan, and they're 8-3 right now on the defense.
Shock darts even hitting at this point. And, you know, again, it's unfortunate.
Once
You're
Fury
seeing
off the
all
ground,
these
will try to
lineups.
punish.
Oh, this is it gonna touch? No, Sarah actually gets one. That's big off Freeze Mill. How are you hitting the shots? Jazzy slowly working their way up into that. And then you still have everybody left standing. One player only down. That's gonna be Noya, but doesn't matter. Floor holding the op and holding the angle as well.
Flash from Alexis here to set them up. They want to go through it, really. But where do Complexity go? No spike plant, and you can hear it if you're just close enough to the wall. It's very faint, and even Mel crossing past the wall, I think should be able to hear it.
Oh, they thought they would be smart.
They thought they faked
Moving.
it, but it didn't work because the knife
Yeah.
here is going to catch him.
No, Alexis is gonna be huge here. Actually, seeming like they don't push through again. How does Floor hit a shot like that? Just continuously proving everybody wrong. I am Floor, and they want everybody to know it.
6-round lead. In version 1, putting 8 rounds in a row. 4 defuses, 3 back-to-back-to-back on the B site. That is a dominant defensive side, and Complexity just had no answers. None whatsoever. The Complexity post plants, fighting on site against a V1 team that is extremely well coordinated against
Yeah.
probably one of the best, if not the best, game changer initiators, being Alexis. And now on the defense, Complexity will need a miracle. They are a little bit better on the defensive side on all their maps, but version 1's attack from Lotus we saw was indomitable, and here they should be unstoppable.
Go with the flow here, honestly. Complexity. Keeping a nice duo play to try to fight for some sort of first fake, but it doesn't work. Alexis actually wasting a flash to try to push this out.
And this is where they'll put a lot of focus towards mid. Try and see if they can get Fluorescent in a spot where she can lurk, maybe punish a player, and see if Noya can maybe catch a player as well while lurking on the B side. It's a very strong default because you have confidence in 2 of your strongest players between Fluorescent and Noya to place by themselves, but not over-invest into fights. The timing here, they're going to fake a B hit. Flash towards B-Link as well to check, but I would not bite into a B hit like this.
But they think with 47 seconds left that there is potential.
Just no one's peeking, and so much space giving here to Noya, and so much of a fake here as Noya will be the solo contact.
Just baiting themselves for the team, and this is the biggest
I mean,
sacrifice.
they're playing the risk because they have double Nanostorm on the A site, but still,
30 seconds.
4 players already here, and Wadink already as well. There's something here for Complexity to make happen.
I don't even think it was worth it at this point, because now Floor sticking down towards the back of site. They've gained so much control. You're still looking at a 1v1 here. Jazzy not even going to finish that lurk off.
There is HP that is very low between Alexis and Sarah, but they have to get aggressive, and they might not expect this.
Oh, not even a flash to peek this one. Instead, it's Mel coming alongside Alexis. Still, though, Kara and Lacey, again, changing up the game. This is where things start to take a turn, and maybe Complexity can finish it off, and they do.
They stay alive in this series against Version 1, what has already been a historic series for both teams. The first team to push them to overtime this year is Complexity. They couldn't take a map. The hope here is that they can do that, and it had to start with a pistol. That's what it started with on Lotus, and that's what it starts with here on Pearl. A hope. A very, very small hope. They read the aggression here from Version 1 pretty well. It was an instant trade back, Lacey as well, setting a really nice flash to catch 2 players off guard. And Version 1 will have to play the eco round with 4 sheriffs. But this is a half where you need star players to come alive, and you're looking at Jazzykin specifically to step up.
Yeah.
Scanning ahead.
And it's so difficult, too. Complexity, again, they take a push out to try to gather information. You're seeing everybody in B1 down towards mid, and that's the one place they don't look here. So now they have to try to fight this back.
And this timing here, look at this. Fluorescent just lurking over towards the B link. This is what I'm talking about. Just setting her on her own, see what she can find. And she's in a very good spot. She doesn't need to push with her team now. She can just sit here and catch rotates, catch lurks. 1 kill is all you need again to get a gun in your hand, and you could turn this entire round around.
This is a big possibility. You can see Claudia watching like a hawk, and there's so much big contact here actually coming through from this play.
Enough swarm can slow it down.
Maybe so. Smoke actually coming out. Kara peeks around the corner. It's not really going to do much. I mean, you're looking at Floor, the entry here. Lots of space creation. But Claudia again. I mean, biggest thing for me is if Floor can actually pull through with a couple of shots here, where there's the first one. Hold it.
Standing.
Second one not
30 seconds
connecting.
left.
So again, you leave Noya by yourself in a 1v3 situation. Things not looking too good. Yeah, but for Complexity, and again, leading to, yeah, a very, very nice victory.
Give me 3 guns as well. I think they only had 2 Spectres between Claudia, or apologies, 2 Stingers between Claudia and Kara, so not the biggest loss financially. And I'm not gonna lie, despite Ray's properly playing, I don't think the best duelist on this map, she's got some pretty crazy Molly lineups. Like, dropped one in there. I think that literally saved Claudia.
Yeah.
Who just got enough damage off the right-click classic to win her fight. I think if Claudia goes down, that could be an entirely different round. Complexity will switch it up, get aggressive. They're farming the ult orbs here for Lacey. Maybe trying to get now Raze onto the ultimate. That seems to be the case. Now 1 away from the run it back.
Oh, that caught what? That caught Raze.
The thing is, that'll keep players invested from Complexity to force Version 1 to either use more util or to get a pick here. It's kept them on the A site, left Kara alone. Now rotates need to come in here.
Having not a lot of firepower towards Venom. Again, you're looking at V1, they're consistently just playing for, you know, information at this point.
And this turret towards mid gives Version 1 so much space to work with. Like, the fact that this turret hasn't gone off or been broken, they know that nobody's peeked out towards mid. So this is a very, very, like, open part of the map that Version 1 can reroute themselves towards. And so they can make these really easy rotates. They're not worried about re-clearing mid. They're not worried about anything. They can invest util just for the side execs.
Even now, if they clear this one.
And because there's no mid control, Complexity make this instant rotate. They have no info.
30
That is
seconds
huge.
left.
It doesn't matter. They hear 30 seconds. They see 2 players left over towards A. So now you're going to have to leave Noya by themselves. But then you get the site watching this. Hoping that they can at least get something. Floor is going way too far in. There is big punishment there.
It is a 5v3 currently on the B site. 1 player rotating back, 1 on a flank. That's Mel and Noya looking to make something happen here. And look how ready Complexity are for it.
Yeah,
No, they
hear
don't spin
it.
away. Are you kidding me?
Timing is big. They don't even hear the footsteps. They don't see anything coming. At least good for 2 here. still doesn't matter. A bit too late. Noya has to work their way up before it's too late. Up towards heaven. Lacey goes down, hearing the footsteps now. The first, the second, and the third. It's Noya that possibly just clutched this up for the team. And again for version 1.
She waited, and she struck at the perfect moment. And everyone on V1 understood. They hid behind smokes. They didn't take fights. They just drew attention. And you can see on the map, Alexis does not fight. She sits and she waits for Noya to make a play. The #1 Sentinel and Viper from the closed qualifiers proves once again how good she can be when it comes to these lurks. Double digits for version 1 and a must-win round for Complexity. A loss here will reset you and give version 1 a chance to get on to match point.
Timing's been such an important feature of this game, man. I don't know how version 1 continue to just run away with plays like these.
Run it back available for Raze over on the A site. And it's timed here possibly with a flash from Lacey. But look at that turret. Gives so much confidence. And it looks like it's a lurk turret from the POV of Complexity. So they haven't made any rotates. And Noya's went off the lockdown. I don't know if they've grabbed the B orb here, so they could get the lockdown if they want to go back towards B. But Punish, wow, what a great Trailblazer.
Recovering it.
And they're going to isolate Mel with just a bucket load of util.
Even Stun Mel still manages to get the one.
That's ridiculous. She stays alive.
Obscuring vision.
Yeah, they just opened this
Obscuring
beautifully,
vision.
actually. Now being able to get the site for themselves, post lane's going to look spectacular. You're looking at 2 players already, I mean, feeling like they're saving here.
It's insane that Mel stays alive. Fluorescent even committed the dash to get over quick enough. And now Complexity might be considering a save here. They just don't have the credits to make a buy happen. If they can't get a kill here, I think they will save. Beast hold on to 2 rifles. You'll have at least to run it back to make it happen. So Raze, if Raze is kinetic, you have to save, I think.
They didn't win that one
Consider
out.
it.
I think they're going to go for this. They don't care. I don't even...
Enemy remaining.
They still try to push through this, despite the fact that the economy's slow, despite the fact that Claudia's in a very, very bad position right now. Now Claudia having to make the big decision.
There is some merit to Claudia being the one that's, I mean, if she gets away. I think she heard the dash as well from Fluorescent.
Yeah.
Found them.
You can stack a site with the KJ util and just play the Phantom there and have the 4-player stack on the opposite site. So there's some merit the fact that Claudia stays alive. How impactful that'll be, we will see. And if they do elect to just put Claudia on a site with her util and stack the rest on the other,
Covering it.
still yet to be known. But this fight from Mel was ridiculous to win. Like getting a kill on that stun and then Fluorescent committing a dash to get the second. It's just a testament. I think that literally that singular kill to me is a testament how good V1 have been in this map. And the final timeout called here from Complexity. I don't think it's for the next round. I think it's actually for this round.
Yeah.
And how they want to set up off of Claudia's singular rifle.
If anything, I feel like Lacey's been popping off. And, you know, we're looking at that KDA overall. There's been reasons why we've seen Lacey, you know, been handed over the position of, you know, again, maybe it was the op over on Lotus, and now, again, making those entry points happen. So, for me, Lacey's such a big, important factor, at least into this round, to really open things up for Claudia to get those picks.
Look at the ultimates on V1. Lockdown. Knives as well for Fluorescent. Mel on a Cosmic Divide. And, I mean, you talk about Lacey being kind of key and setting up Claudia for these fights. I hate to say it, but despite Claudia having the only rifle, I don't have confidence that she'll get the kills. 5 and 13. Like, it just plays a factor, I think, in everyone's mind. And how good can she be with this Phantom?
Let's move.
As Complexity will play the 3-man stack over on the A site. See if they can set her up. She'll play kind of a bait setup, it looks like.
One suppressed.
I don't get much of a suppression, though, so V1 at least know. You know, there isn't any sort of push coming through for Complexity.
We'll play a stack on the B site and leave just the rifle here, at least accompanied by Raze to take the bait and see what they can combo towards Art.
Oh, they've already made so much noise, so Complexity going in early on that rotation, and now Lockdown coming through, so they have to back themselves off again, just backtracking.
That's a very deep lockdown as well. Complexity can't get on site, but version 1 taking their time actually, as Complexity are backed all the way in towards defender spawn. And look at the retake util they've got to commit. Like they literally had a flash through the lane to make sure no one was pushing. And the post lane util for version 1 is just stacked on that spike. Gravel and 2 swarms.
Yeah. Probability of winning this honestly is slim to none for Complexity when you're looking at the weapons here.
I actually don't know that. They're banking off the Hunter's Fury a lot here, I feel like. And there's actually no one committing to fights.
Full coming through. Mel still managing to find the fight. But it's up to Alexis. Hunter's Fury's coming out like you said. Still actually trying to stall this potential through. What are they going to do?
They could just
Last player standing.
I don't think they will.
remaining.
Noya making a power play to try to peek this one as well. And version 1 taking it down to match point.
And literally just barely getting away with it. I mean, great delay from version 1. I'll give huge props to that, but that did feel like maybe Complexity pulled off the ninja.
You can't just shoot.
Manoia coming in the nick of time. They couldn't get it to half. Just the HP was so low for Complexity. So I guess maybe my worries weren't super warranted.
Yeah.
But a lockdown here for Complexity. Seekers to work with and rifles to play with as well. And Jazzykins, for the first time in this map, is going to pull out the operator to see if she can shut down Floor.
The redemption arc.
Getting raised very early on to the ult orb. See if they can charge up the ult for maybe a retake. Floor isn't forced off the angle entirely. They have to retake the space. This is really great from version 1. Even popping a perma smoke, not even a pullback, to get not only the ult orb but now Alexis onto the ultimate. To confuse Jazzykins and just create so many other angles she has to hold now.
Oh, they had to have known. This is just too perfect from version 1.
But there's so much control from Complexity over towards A, and this mid play here from Claudia. 50 seconds left, the Seekers get popped, so some info here. And I feel like if you're version 1, you can commit back through mid because of the space that Noya has. Scale up in towards Art. You can make a play there. I don't think V1 are keen to commit on this, it looks like. I lied, they are committing.
Oh no, and Jazzy again gets pushed back. It's a continuous thing that we've continued to see. Fluorescent now, again applying that pressure. Not checking below them, still doesn't even matter. Everyone from V1 making an effort to change things in Complexity in a 2v5. It's up to that one pick coming through from Claudia, slowly diminishing those numbers. But again, you're stuck in a very bad position number-wise.
Enemy
You're gonna have to slowly work your way up. Fluorescent getting to pick up above. And again, we know Floor doesn't miss those headshots. And maybe they won't, but the fight commences. It's up to Raze to try to clutch this back up to keep themselves in the game. But that is the game. It's version 1, taking things down 13-5.
Continuing their unbeaten map streak in Game Changers thus far. 8-0 here in Series 2, and version 1 take a sweeping there on Pearl, continuing their 13-1 map record, now extending it to 14-1. Complexities, I give condolences, give some props at least on map number 1, but here on Pearl, it certainly felt that this was the version 1 that everyone was expecting, everyone probably expected to show up here.
You say this was the version 1 that everyone was expecting. I mean, I have to agree with you, but I also have to say Complexity, man. They put up a hell of a fight, and that is a fact. But one fact that I want to know is, you know, the facts that are in the analyst brain's desks, because I'm not as intelligent as they are. So can you guys please break it down for us? So let's hear your thoughts.
3 + 3 = 9.
Well, my first thought is y'all both a lot smarter than you think, especially if we're comparing to over here. I'm just kidding, but nah, hey, it was a fun series, you know. Bach, I think you said it best when it was put that Complexity, that first map really was the win con going into the series, because headed into our next map, I mean, that's where we got to see V1 really, where they got that namesake of being the team here.
And version 1 is just so incredibly comfortable on this map. And map 1, they didn't feel like version 1 at all. They felt like maybe they were pre-alpha. They were definitely not quite up to 1.0. They hit version 1 here and potentially even a future patch-related date because they clearly had everything exactly as it should be for the map. This is kind of how this team plays. This is how they run. And it's just proof that this team is scary, scary good. Even though that first map didn't go that well for them, we kind of asked ourselves, are they going to be able to reset? Yeah, they won an OT, but they're probably a little bit upset that they didn't close that first game out a little bit quicker. It didn't seem to affect them at all. I mean, this is exactly what you anticipate from this roster, and they close out the series in a 2-0 fashion. So even though you look at that first map and you go, oh, that was a little bit closer, you look at the score on the series, it's still a 2-0. It's still basically V1 doing what they're doing. Sully said it best. They keep their unbeaten streak up as they have not dropped a map yet in Game Changers this year.
And if you only look at the second map, then yeah, it was pretty one-sided.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
As a complexity team, it felt like they thought they would have the open side all the time here towards that B side. So when you're looking, again, I mentioned, keep an eye out for Alexis and see what she does and what she brings to the table. They didn't do too many of those, like deny the utility that is going to be used for complexity as they try to initiate towards the site. They wanted to use it more towards the retakes. And it works out quite well because by then the walls have come up. You've already used one of the flashes. What do you really have left for a retake? Maybe another flash remaining for the Phoenix. I do like from time to time the complexity have set up in a sense that they could play not all players to be hit within a radius of the knife, and they could set up some decent crossfires. But when two of them are being hit on the back of the site, which happens twice, and all the utility that Mel puts in the back of the site, it just makes it very difficult in the end for you to try to refight that when they're just getting flood retaken all the time by sorry, I was gonna mention C9 because it just looked as good as C9 White last year, pretty much.
The new era C9.
Exactly. C10.
But the yeah, right, C10. They've moved. Hey, that is 9+1. I mean, maybe you're onto something.
I told you I was smart. I mean,
one of my issues whenever I see a neon on this map is I always feel like the timing has to be so incredibly good to make a neon work on the map. And you can see how Jazzy struggled. It just didn't feel like things were clicking for them as the timing just didn't really connect the way you needed to. They were having a hard time with the first bloods. They were getting denied on a lot of the entries. They did have a couple come in by way of Phoenix, but otherwise it was mostly shut down. V1 definitely controlled the early round, and it just felt like they couldn't really get a foot in the door. And we've seen that before from teams who run neon comps on this map. Neon gets so far out in front of the play, but there's nothing really to set up neon, and it really is only over towards the A site, maybe potentially in mid. But when you go towards B, it's tough. You have those long sight lines. It's really easy for that neon to just get picked apart trying to make their way out. It's very easy to shut down a neon on this map.
Well, one thing that was coined there when you actually had a neon to comp was, for example, bringing out an Astra, so you could actually stun towards the back of the site, or bring nanoswarms if you could actually follow behind well enough here to actually get nanos towards the back corners, or even a Sova so you could actually dart towards the back. So that's where it gets very difficult. You don't really have too much of that. And even the KO Pop Flash, the coin play that Xset did in that RIP Xset roster of, you know, the Def and Zekin and whatnot in that era of how they were able to gain that space with that neon. So you're pretty much on a lone island and hoping to do a little bit more with the Phoenix moving forward behind those walls, but it was starting to get telegraphed.
Well, at this point, there's a little more chance to workshop this Neon and Phoenix over on Pearl, because of course, Complexity not out of it, just going to be knocked down to the lower bracket as V1 are going to be advancing on to our winners finals here. We'll get a chance to talk to them too after our break and after our Prime Gaming post-series highlight, so stay tuned.
Steady blazing. Spine planted. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Well, it got a little close in that first map, but in the end, V1 was able to do V1 things, therefore just win the games. And we're moving on into the winners finals here in Game Changer Series 2. And to talk a little bit more about that, we have Sarah on the line. Sarah, great win coming out along here. Great run so far in Game Changer Series 2. That first map, though, going over into the overtime. Do you feel like that's the most that this team has been tested so far in Game Changers?
I mean, definitely. I think that's the closest map we've had in GC so far. I think their Lotus is really good, actually. So we were definitely not prepared for their T side. It was really, really good. But yeah.
And then going into the next map, I mean, definitely prepared. Great showing coming out from V1. I want to ask, though, looking at Complexity's composition of this Neon and this Phoenix, is this something that you've seen them play it in the past? Did you think that they were going to bring it out again today? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, we were definitely talking about it. I mean, I don't think it's the greatest comp, so we weren't really too worried. Obviously, Pearl was pretty free, so.
I mean, how are you feeling about the freeness of the competition going on forward, as we now know who you're going to be facing up against in our winners finals? It's going to be DSG. Did you expect to face them this point in the bracket? How are you feeling about this matchup ahead of you?
I mean, we weren't sure if they were going to beat Exit, actually, but they are a pretty strong team, so we're looking forward to the game. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a fun one.
We're definitely excited to watch this V1 Titan squad go up against them. And the fact that everyone has coined V1 as like this team to take down, this team that's just a cut above anyone else. Do you feel any sort of added pressure coming into this super squad looking at these events?
There's definitely some pressure, yeah. I mean, I think we are by far the best team in GC right now, so it's definitely some pressure. It's definitely kind of hard. Like, going into OT even was a little bit nerve-wracking, but I think we do a good job of managing it. Like, Mel's calls still were absolutely insane throughout the OT, so we're chilling, I think.
Glad to hear the confidence there, everything working smoothly. And I'll let you go soon. I see all the party decorations in the background. I know there's birthday, and I know that want to chill with the team. Someone in the background there. But before I let you go, Sarah, if you have any final words or any shout outs for the stream.
Shout out Melange for her call on the T side round of OT. My goat, actually, my goat.
You're all goats over there. Congrats on the win. Best of luck in the winners finals, and I'm sure we'll see you in the grand finals too.
Thank you so much.
You. As for us, I mean, it's time for to head back over to the desk and break down a little bit of what we got to see today. I feel like Area Vans isn't here. Guys, please come back. What is this? Production 2?
You're on your own.
I didn't sign up for that.
Figure it out.
All right, well, I don't know what's going on over here, but I feel like a lot is right in the world if we're seeing V1 in yet again in a winners finals over here, Vance, right? That seems a little kind of normal.
Yeah, Sarah seems like a person of not many words and lets the fragging be heard in the server instead. I mean, if you know about the history of Sarah of playing from Immortals over to like playing like tier 2 pickup games with like Team Shazam or whatnot and still putting great numbers. I still remember Sarah as a great breach player on Haven and a clutch player as well, and now being a clutch initiator for a team in version 1. I do echo what she says here, that version 1 definitely is the best looking team during Game Changers, maybe even overall worldwide, because you know, the strong powerhouse over at EMEA being G2 is not that strong powerhouse anymore. The new kid on the block basically to see if it's the team to beat was BBL pretty much, or Footballists rather, and even they lost to a revenge match against G2 earlier on today. So there are some teams that are vulnerable out there, but version 1 continues to be lossless.
They're looking pretty good. And before we go too far into the what if of the team, we still need to come back into our current match here and talk about our AimLab flick of the day. Because if we're going to talk about the greatness of V1, well, I feel like we can just continue along that trend. Because I don't think Fluorescent has been anyone that's been shy of claiming this title before, Bach.
I mean, can you really be surprised? Fluorescent put up numbers in both games played today. Obviously, one of them played off stream. I'm shocked. Dropped like 50 kills in a best of 3 earlier today to open up their quarterfinal matchup. Also played really well here. We talked about it coming into it, the duel of the duelists, and how Fluorescent is very good, very aggressive in that front, and it obviously paid off as Fluorescent was one of the top performers for the team. It just followed the script. You know, we always joke about the script being written, and we're just reading from it. This was very much part of the script. I will say that Complexity did change things up a little bit. Map 1 almost went their direction, and they probably are kicking themselves a little bit knowing they could be playing in a Map 3 scenario right now, but it still is an impressive fight from them. They did more than any team has been able to do in Game Changers thus far against this V1 roster, but V1 is moving ahead. They're not looking back at the past. They're not looking at that 14-12 victory. They're looking forward to their next match against DSG.
Yeah, Vance, I feel like this is the point where you can get that surprise face going on again as we look at our bracket and how well we've followed our script, because honestly, I'm very happy with how things have shaken up. I think this is really interesting, but honestly, this is not how I would have envisioned things happening here.
I mean, yes, because you look at the upper bracket, DSG's in the winter finals. You look at the lower bracket, Shopify Rebellion is there, FaZe is there, Exit is there, EG is there, Complexity is there, and now you're already having teams that are dropping out early. Exit, who, again, third place in Game Changer Series 1, 2 of the players from the core Cloud9 white team, and already dropping and losing to EG, where even they shouldn't have lost to FaZe.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at the fact that Exit's one of our early exits. But it is a difficult match, obviously. Like, EG is a good team, so it's not entirely surprising that they're going to get bumped out by EG. It's more surprising that they ended up in that position so quickly. I don't think many people looked at today and thought DSG is a clear winner. They're going to take this series over Exit. But they had a good fight in them. Then you look at the FaZe series and you're like, okay, well, can they do that again? Was it just hardcore preparation against Exit? Were they ready for an opponent knowing they need to start things off with a win? No, the team is just solid. Now comes the true test, though. You know, this is a trial by fire if I've ever seen one. They have to beat Exet in the opening round. That's your third place team. FaZe no slouches either, and now they're going up against V1. The thing is, even if they lose here, they're in a really good spot, as that would put them back down into the lower bracket final. It's not a bad position to be in, where you can effectively watch some of these other matches play out, get prepared for that lower bracket final, and then punch your ticket potentially back in for a rematch in that grand final.
Yeah, honestly, it's not how I expected things to go down, but Vance, honestly, being able to see that still at this point in Game Changers, we can see a team come together in so little time like DSG, make that run, or with Overkill Black, sure, they're out of the bracket now, but they made that top 8 in the first place, and seeing powerhouse teams like Exit leave, you never really know what's going to happen at any point.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed that we don't get to see, you know, a little bit of OVK when we and saw the features here from Tina and whatnot, but it definitely looks like she was putting up some numbers in there. So if anything, we at least had the streams going on through like B stream, C stream, so we could definitely check some VODs if you've missed it over there, chat, and you want to catch up on up and coming talent or whatnot within Game Changers. If not, though, I do agree with you, Sierra. It's just really nice to see that from Game Changers to Game Changers, you have sometimes unsigned teams that's making a, you know, bringing up a spark, like Ariana Grande perfume or something like that when you look at past Game Changers, right? And just the competition in itself. Yes, maybe the story is still that you have version 1, just like Cena White before, 1 cut above the rest. But now everything that's under that, it's still very close.
Well, we'll be able to see what teams make their run through the lower bracket to have a chance to try and take a crack at V1 later. But of course, that is it for today. Make sure to be coming back tomorrow for some more Game Changers, because you literally do not know how any of these matches will end up. You cannot miss a single game, a single moment. Thank you to all the casters that were on today. You're wonderful. Production, you're wonderful. Bach bands, y'all pretty cool. I'm glad we got
smart. And smart.
Don't
here's
add
some
that
dad
one in.
jokes. Chill with the boomers on the desk for a little bit, but
Yeah, I'm surprised Bach didn't even do any dad jokes throughout this whole
not a single one.
Exit.
Not a
Exit.
You're
single
out of your game,
dad
Bach.
joke.
You're out of your game. You're off.
Should I
Anyways,
tell the mic
it's
check
past
joke?
y'all's
Is this time?
bedtime, so we're gonna wrap this one up. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good night.
One enemy remaining. steady blazing. 30 seconds left. One enemy.